Welcome, barbecue enthusiasts, to another smoking hot episode of the Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm thrilled to take you on a mouth-watering journey through the world of barbecue, grilling, and the vibrant culture that surrounds it. Recorded right here in the heart of the barbecue world, our podcast is your backstage pass to all things smoking and sizzling. We'll be chatting with top pit masters, grill masters, and foodies, giving you an exclusive peek behind the scenes of the barbecue universe. So whether you're a seasoned pitmaster or just fired up the grill for the first time, you are in the right place. The Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast is your one-stop destination for flavor-packed stories, grilling tips, smoker secrets, and all things barbecue. So grab a seat, fire up your smoker, and get ready to sink your teeth into the juiciest conversations, the boldest flavors, and the most unforgettable moments in the world of barbecue. Here's to the thrill of the grill and the magic of smoke and fire. Let's get started. In our last episode, I took you on a journey through the weekend that was the Kangaroo Valley Craft Beer and Barbecue Festival for 2024. If you haven't caught it yet, make sure you check it out. I shared several recorded conversations with competitors, barbecue vendors, and brewers, bringing you right into the event itself. This episode is one of our famous After Dark episodes from Kangaroo Valley. This is where I chat with competitors once the public has gone home. Now, you might be wondering, what happened to the After Dark episode from 2023? And that's a fair question. In 2023, I recorded a great episode with Andrew and Alinka Don Patterson, Tim Mazzaraki, and Dave Salisbury. We lit a nice big fire in our accommodation, popped a couple of craft beers, and chatted barbecue for well over an hour. However, in a rookie mistake, I downloaded the recording of Andrew's microphone twice and didn't download Alinka's microphone, so I lost the recording of her voice. I thought I might be able to manually make up for it by manipulating the microphone bleed of her voice through the other microphones, but it was then that I discovered that my phone, which I'd been using as a microphone for myself, was skipping about 10 seconds of audio every 2 minutes or so. So unfortunately, the episode was a bust and I didn't have a releasable product to share. So I apologize to everyone, especially the guests on that. However, this year I returned with a revised plan and recorded a cracking episode with Tony from Two Shorties Barbecue, Drew from BBQ, as well as Jamie and Kyle from Glazy Days. If Drew sounds a bit distracted in this interview, it's because he was trimming chicken while recording. He's a man of many talents for sure. Tony has a passion for barbecue that I haven't seen in anyone in a really long time and comes across with an infectious energy that makes it clear that he adores every single aspect of competition barbecue. Except trimming chicken. That's Drew's job. Anyhow, let's get into our 2024 Kangaroo Valley After Dark episode. Hey folks, I'm hanging out now in the Two Shorties Barbecue tent. And I've got three young fellas here that are going to have a bit of a barbecue chat with us. We've got Tony from Two Shorties Barbecue, long-time guest of the show, Drew from BBQ, and new to the show, Jamie from Glazy Days. Gentlemen, how is the competition treating you?
I've had a bit of a cruisy day today, so I'm only competing in ABA tomorrow. So just hung out today watching the other boys from Glazy Days cook, and just walking around and enjoying the day today.
Coaching. So you were coaching.
Yeah, mentoring. Not so much coaching, just being there in spirit.
I'd like to. I reckon directing is probably a better way of saying it.
So should we pass out the differences then between directing, coachting, and mentoring?
Yeah, exactly.
It is quite a hot day, and Tony is still wearing his jumper, so they might say how much work's been done from Tony's
Okay, righto.
Yeah.
You're not from Queensland?
I'm from the Yarra Valley in Melbourne.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, you should be like running around in a singlet then. You should be complaining.
I should be.
We just like paying down, Tony.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. All good fun.
So did you come all the way up from Yarra Valley just for this competition?
I did, yeah. So I drove up with a friend of mine that I've known for a very long time, and we stopped off in Bundanoon, about 45 minutes from here, and went and stayed with a friend that we used to work with. Had nice showers in the morning, and then took the 45-minute drive up here yesterday, and doing it again in reverse tomorrow.
That's a long way to come for a barbecue comp.
It is a long way to come.
Well,
I've been further, but
It is a long way for Tony, but Tony, what is your backstory though? What's the significance of Kangaroo Valley, and what have you done this year
yeah,
that makes your long story very
asking
short time?
questions. All right for me to tell you that now? Yeah,
Go for it,
sure.
go for it, man, yeah.
So I met Drew online a couple of years ago. I met a lot of people online
I
a couple
think
of
Drew
years
meets a
ago.
lot of people online.
I saw one.
Hey, let's just clarify,
I
right?
think
It's not like on Tinder or anything like that, okay? Or Grinder, as
I
some
think
people
I
do
saw.
these days. Hey,
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I saw a Butcher's Axe white drum online that Drew made. I'm like, that looks wicked. I want a drum like that. So I went back and forth with Drew for maybe 6 months, coming up with the design. I got a logo design, and I got this drum made by Drew, which is a white BBQ drum. I then became friends with Drew just over the phone, online, and I came up to test the barbecue competition waters in Kangaroo Valley last year with my family. We had a great weekend. I chucked a brisket on one of the drums.
you cooked with myself
I cooked
under
with,
Wild West.
That's right. I cooked
I
with
was
Drew
like-
under Wild West Barbecue.
I was like, come, just get your feet in.
Yeah.
Have a go, see if you like it.
Yeah.
And we'll send you on your merry way.
Yeah. And I didn't really do much. I just chucked a brisket on and just made sure it was a bit tender. And then Drew did everything else pretty much, and a beef rib. And then I decided I wanted to do it. And so I registered at the start of this year, and I did my first comp in February. This is my 7th competition.
Wow.
Since then,
7 in 1 year.
yeah,
That's
and
great
so
results, man.
I had a goal for myself to do 5. And yeah, I'm doing 7, so I'm having a break after this because I'm a bit exhausted.
There's not much time left in the year. I don't think there are many comps left for
Oh,
you to
there's
go
still
to anyway.
a few.
There's a couple.
There's a few.
Ben coming up in a few weeks over in Adelaide.
But you've
Yeah.
done some accolades in that. You've got a few trophies.
Yeah, I got a few trophies. Yeah,
Yeah, which
Been
is pretty
fun.
impressive
Come-
for the first person,
Yeah.
for your first year.
Got a few last calls as well.
Ah, yeah,
It's
true.
Oh, yeah,
it's
we've all had them.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting year, but it's. I think I need a break now and just reset, and then maybe get going again around meat stock tour next year.
All right, well, take us through it then. What was the first comp?
It was a comp in Melbourne called Leader of the Pack at Wolfpack down at Turn Left at Albuquerque, which is I guess a sister store of Cha 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 Butcher.
Shout out to Glenn and
Shout
Maria.
out to Glenn and Maria and Jamie, who was there. And so did that competition. I was very underprepared. I was mixing sauces on the day. I came dead last in pork.
Ringing me daily.
Ringing me daily.
Yeah.
I came dead last in pork. I think I found 6 ribs that I could turn in out of 3 racks.
Oh, wow.
But I got a 3rd in brisket, which I don't know how I did it.
Beginner's luck.
Beginner's luck, maybe. But yeah, that was my first competition, and I pretty much just loved it. I loved it. Brought the family, had a bit of fun. All the barbecue brethren, they're all real nice group of guys, and yeah, it's good.
It's not as hard as you thought, though, eh? A lot of people think it's daunting. Oh, but how do I do it? How do I start?
Nah,
But
I think the preparation, like once you've done it, the competition day, once you get past that first hand in, or for me, which is generally chicken, then it's okay. But it's all the preparation beforehand, and getting meat, trimming meat, because it's obviously I'm buying from comp to comp. I can't afford to go and buy 5 briskets or 15 racks of ribs. Not many sponsorships really. I get some help from the butcher. From Michael from Heavenly Hell supplies my rubs and sauces with a semi-sponsorship, and I've Silvio from Charcoal Kings also helps me out. So it's been a good start to the year, and yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah.
so from there then, from that first comp where you get that first taste of a call out, tell us about that experience, your very first call out. How did you feel? What went through your
Well,
mind?
my daughter just finished telling me that after the 3 hand-ins, after the 3 hand-ins, she's like, "You're not going to get anything, Dad." I'm like, "I know that.
Oh,
It's
really?
okay."
So you were getting trash talked by your own daughter.
Yeah.
So she had to walk home then, I take it.
Right, no, she didn't walk home. She had to,
Love it, Evie.
she had to catch a train. And as soon as she said that, they called out 3rd place, and I'm like, I was just shocked.
So did you just turn around and give her the finger?
I did turn around and went like this to her though. So I did give her that one, the razz up. Yeah, and like I just I guess all the new friends that I made were pretty excited for me. I tend to get excited if I get sort of fluke a win or something like that, and
emotional.
I'm very emotional. I'm not. I never anticipate getting a walk, and so if it happens, it's like wow, Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep.
And so from there, you went to the second comp. Did
Yeah,
you
which
go
was-
into that with big expectations, or were you keeping it real?
No, I kept it real. I kept it real. I kept it real as meat stock in Bendigo.
Aha, yeah.
And the family came up as well. And
So to put things, sorry to jump in, but put things into perspective, we had 11 at TLA. Mind you, there were some big boys there. Big Smoke was there. Butcher's Axe was there. Smoke Face. So there was some heavy hitters there still. But TLA was also my first comp as well, which we happen to fluke and be neighbours and haven't been able to ditch him since.
Nice.
But,
I actually thought you guys were on the same team.
oh, occasionally, if we don't jump, if not even with Lazy Days, I mean, we're too shorty, so a bit of a barbecue SLOUT if you want to put it that way.
Yep.
But yeah, so we went from a little backyard comp in Moorabbin to a second one being meat stock Bendigo with what 45 teams and the best guns in the country. And
That's about as big as it gets, Meatstock Bendigo.
100%.
Yeah. Now, had you been to Meatstock at the old location before it moved to Bendigo?
only once, the year before. And I didn't...
As a spectator,
As a
though.
spectator, as a spectator, yeah. And it just... it was okay. Like, I just went and guess... was a fanboy of the barbecue teams. I didn't necessarily, go for the food, or I went for socialising, right? That's what I'm here for. And yeah, I went to Meatstock Bendigo. I nearly came last in brisket after the third, but I came out with a second in chicken with the 299. So that absolutely surprised me.
299. You're 1 point off a perfect
I
300.
was, yeah.
What cut did you do, though?
Wow.
I did. I'm not saying that. So I started really simply with barbecue because I didn't want to overwhelm myself. I started with 1 cut boxes.
Yep.
Like chicken wings, only chicken wings, only money muscle for pork, and only lamb ribs for lamb.
So the chicken wings you cooked?
I cooked chicken wings. Yeah.
Right.
And people loved them. So
That's breaking the mold, though.
It's a nice surprise. Yeah.
That's good to see that, like your first year,
Mm.
and you're doing things that are obviously scoring $2.99 in chicken with just wings. When people previously would say you can't just win with wings, you need to do more. But
and I don't know,
right?
I don't know. Like I'm just doing what I do to make it easier on myself. Because I was too hard to do 2 cuts on the same on that same day. I'm getting better at that now. But yeah, it was good. And then next comp I nearly came last in chicken. So everything that I've done.
From the top to the bottom.
What about your wife Beck on her first? What did she do at the first comp?
Oh yeah, she nearly sliced her finger off.
Oh.
Washing up my new brisket knife.
And your daughter was there laughing at her and telling her that she sucked?
Probably my son was doing that. No, but she was a trooper, and then she ended up driving herself to the hospital. And
She drove herself.
I was boxing up pork ribs. I couldn't do
They're
it.
still happily married though, and she's still around.
She's still around.
Yeah, good stuff.
I was boxing up pork. I didn't know what to do. I was really stressed out.
Just don't bleed on the ribs.
Yeah, and she was a trooper though. Like she pushed her. We had a couple of good people helping out Glenn at that competition. So Adrian and Martin from Fahrenheit 305?
Yeah, Fahrenheit 305.
Yeah, and they looked after her. 205, sorry, Fahrenheit 205. And they, that's hot and fast, 305. And they looked after her, helped her bandage it up, helped look after the kids while that was happening. So that was really good. And that was a good introduction to the barbecue community and how, the camaraderie is, people help each other.
It's funny how you're sort of competing against each other, but you're not at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And I almost love that.
I think that's also the Australian mentality. Is like, you always check on. It's the Aussie way, really, isn't it? Like,
I think in barbecue it's a little bit different, I think.
Yeah.
Just in my opinion.
But how often do we forget things and we just go to the next team? Hey, I left my foil at home.
Yeah.
And he gives it to you. Like, it's not even a second question. It's like, here you go.
I just sold another team my Glad Wrap for $10.
That's kind of not the vibe that we were talking about.
No, that was a joke. I threw it at them. That was a joke. Yeah. Shout out to Butcher's Axe, who've been a big mentor for me. Yep.
Now, mentor, coach, or director?
Probably all three. All of the above. All of the above. They've been driving my drums up around the country for the last 2 or 3 months because I don't really have transport and all that kind of setup gear to drive up to Newcastle and to Sydney and that kind of stuff. So they've really helped me out, especially Ado. It's been really good.
Oh, good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. So that brings us up to number 4. Number 5?
The invitation on the Open.
What a weekend.
Invitation on the Saturday.
That was Full Throttle.
Yeah, Full Throttle.
Yeah, right.
Well, I got a wild card.
I'm bummed I missed that.
I think someone felt sorry for me. I got a wild card, and I was really upset about missing out on the wild card on the Saturday, but I did it. Drew came and helped me. So I went and stayed with.
I don't know if we helped each other.
It was very fractured partnership that day.
It was.
And I went and stayed with.
This stress was. It was Saturday. Was torrential rain.
Yeah, pissed down rain and
knee-deep mud.
There was no gumboots left at Bunnings. Every team there bought gumboots.
Drew bought me back a size 9, and I'm like 5'2".
Well, Kmart had the kiddies ones. I wasn't going there. And it was torrential rain. It was stressful, and then it was windy. No sleep, and we still talk. So it's not a bad thing.
We got I think the best score we got was we didn't do very well in chicken. We threw a nice moved away from the chicken wings. Drew cooked chicken thighs, I cooked chicken wings, and it was a collaboration. We did okay with pork. I didn't do much else with everything else. And then the next day,
the Open.
Jamie came and helped as well.
It was a back-to-back ABA.
It was a back-to-back, and Kyle was there as well, hanging out with us. And there was a bit of friction at the start of the day when we handed in a chicken. And me and Drew had to have a team meeting walking up to hand the box in.
Yes, we did.
And then once we walked away from that, we realigned, and I bossed a few people around and cracked the shits a little bit. Directed. Yeah. I said, I'm going to cook. You do this, you do that, and we're sorted. Let's leave each other alone for the day. And
just for reference for those that don't know, what did that chicken what did that chicken box score again?
The chicken box that
they argued.
We argued. Well, we didn't even argue about the chicken box. It was about something else. So the chicken box ended up getting a perfect 300. And we lost. We lost first place on a countback.
That was a special moment, wasn't it?
It was a special moment. Yeah. It was a special moment. And then I also got a decent score for brisket, mid-pack, but still a better score than my third spot.
Mid-pack at the Invitational, not to be sniffed
at. It was great.
Right?
And
top 5, top 6 over the Saturday, Sunday were perfect 300s.
6 perfect scores over both days.
300. That's testament to the quality that was being cooked out there on the weekend.
Yeah, right. Tony got a mid-pack brisket, one above Dusty Q. And you beat Dusty Q. You know, so that's the level of people that were there.
I had to vote to give a bit of cash to one of the judges for that.
Don't talk about that.
Oh, yes, shush. And these guys are my heroes, right? It's just again, I'm a bit of a groupie when it comes to things. I get a bit obsessed with
borderline stalker.
Yeah, I'm not a stalker. I leave people alone. I dive into things. Whether it's music or something family or cooking.
I can also relate to what you're saying. I'm relatively new to the scene. This is my first year on the comp. Guys like Smokeface, all that, we've been following them for years. And for us to come in and knock them over in a category, mate, it's better than Christmas. It's better than Christmas, New Year's rolled in all together for me anyway.
Might only happen once every couple of months, but it's still good though, right?
We fluked lamb up at MAFCO, another little small team group of 2, but managed to knock over Butcher's Axe and Lamb. And to me, that was better. That was a highlight of my year.
That's pretty good.
Beating
Butcher's Axe and Lamb's is a big deal.
That was exciting.
Well, anytime you get a call-up's great. I just yell and cheer hard because it never really happens. But you see some guys that get it every other month and then it doesn't
nothing to them.
I was like, God, man, I'd be happy as doing that. And they just mope up.
And the reason I get excited because, it's not expected. We've had 48 something teams at the Open, even at the Open, the World Championship. It comes to them, calling out second. You don't think you're there, and so it was just
it was a bit of a blank, wasn't it?
It was just
they called our name.
What? It was just pure elation, and there's heaps of photos going around of just me and Drew just jumping for joy, and I had a couple of drinks.
You were I
had a couple of drinks, but most people thought that I was a bit pissed, but I wasn't. I actually got concussion about half an hour after that.
Is this related to the argument that you and Drew had at the start of the day?
I smashed my head on the side of a toilet door. And so I was wobbling and walking around all wonky.
You're not selling the story much, mate.
They thought I was... No, seriously. Jamie had that mark on my head.
Yeah.
Yep.
In a rush to get back, we'll have a quick piss before Prezzo starts. We'll duck in, out a quick piss, and you hear the mic, everyone, and it was straight back out the door, and it swung back halfway, and Tony just straight on the forehead.
Yep. Oh. And... everyone's like, apparently I got carried out or something, or Jamie had to carry me out, but I was concussed. So, that's the story. But anyway, it's been a big year competition.
It's quite an eventful year, yeah.
And lots of lows too, though, right? When you do well in a protein, in the next competition, you get it handed back to you on on a paper plate. Here you go. That's a good way of saying that. And it's pretty much gone in that cycle. I do well, I do shit. Do well, I do shit for that same protein. And it is what it is, though. It's competition barbecue.
Yep.
And you can't let the scores... Well, you can, but for me, I try not to let the scores ruin the experience that I've had.
That's it. Hey, it's all about the whole weekend, not that last 10 minutes of
Exactly,
call-outs.
because when you've handed everything in, mate, I'm like, fuck, that's exciting, I'm done. And if you then let it stomp you down, like, you won't go to the next competition, will you? So I've tried to be, realistic.
I base it off the basis of the bad weekend barbecue and still a better weekend than doing anything else for me. So
pretty much, yeah.
I'd rather come out here and come dead last and hang out with all the boys and go on a fishing trip or something like that, and not catch any fish. This is much more my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yep. So tell me about your year, Jamie. How's it been for you?
It's been a bit of a whirlwind actually. So what did you say you've done 7 times?
This is 7, yeah.
So that'd put me at 8 for the year. So, but we've actually done. So this is my first year on the scene. I've been in low and slow for about 10 years, but started up at Kelly's Invitational way back pre-COVID with a couple of mates, and we were competing under Grill Top Goods. And then COVID hit and whatnot. Oh, we only done the one comp, but done all right at that. And then COVID hit and it sort of all fell over for a few years there. And then the boys had kids and started their own businesses and whatnot. Couldn't get back into it. And I mentioned to the wife that I'd like to get back into competition barbecue. And she swiftly told me that, well, you better find someone to do it with because you can't afford to do it on your own.
Oh, mate, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
And as fate seems to have it, a couple of days later, I was scrolling through one of the groups and I noticed a post that bloke that I now call a good mate of mine, Kyle, was looking for someone to join his team. So got on the blower and had a bit of a chat with him. And that was about a month prior to TLA. Went up to his house 2 weeks before, done a friggin' cook, had a great day, realised, this is something I'd be keen for. Jumped into TLA and ended up next to Tony on his first comp. We were neighbours in that. And then, well, look, I think we didn't do great at TLA, but same thing. It was still one of the best weekends of my life. Like, as I said, I think we're bottom of the pack, and still I loved it. Like, I just couldn't get enough of it. And Kyle had a bit of experience in the SCA prior to that and had done quite well. So was fortunate enough to happily to share all his knowledge in the SCA and teach me that, which gave me a good step straight into it. And we, after TLA, went over to Meadstock Bendigo. And we won't divulge too much, but Kyle had, we'll say, a cracking idea for Chef's Choice, which ended up landing us the first perfect score for Chef's Choice in SCA in Australia.
Hey, there we go.
And a couple others we did. So Bendigo, we ended up taking 3 SCA trophies home. We took, as mentioned, Kyle's Chef's Choice, which was amazing. My second place burger, which is my rendition of a Big Mac, and I took out the middle bun and done a mac and cheese croquette. And
nice.
what was the...
That's proper stoner food
bacon.
there, mate.
And that's me. But the Bacon King over here as well, friggin' his bacon does seem to do quite well all the time, so we cleaned up there. And then we decided, well, we made a bit of money out of that, so why not jump on a plane and go up to Sydney and do SCA Sydney as well?
There you go.
So I decided to back that up. That was a hell of a week. That was my first ever fly in, fly out. And the boys from Smoke and Swine accommodated us up there. Simon, Edward, all the boys, Alonzo, shout out fellas. And we just flew in, flew out with a friggin' carry-on bag each and a bit of meat and got it done. Took out a couple of trophies up there as well, another first place bacon. So after that, that was it. I was hooked. Like, there was no stopping me then. And then, so what did we do after that? Then MAFCO. Yeah, so then we went into MAFCO. Then Kyle went over to the States for a couple of months and had some work things. So I jumped in and done Derodgery with Tony. And then now here.
Yeah.
So it's been a whirlwind of a year. Like, I just can't get enough of it at the moment, to be honest. So
yeah, I can see the energy in your eyes.
Yeah,
It's got you hooked well and truly.
Yeah, well, as I said, I've been into the low and slow sort of stuff for about 10 years now and thought I come into it thinking that I'd just absolutely smoke it and ace it from all the home style cooking because I'm pretty well known for my home style cooking, and quickly realised that it's very, very different worlds and what's expected out of competition barbecue is not what you hand in the home style stuff. So it was a quick learning curve, but still is a learning curve, but yeah, one I'm happily to be on.
What's the big difference though, Jamie? Like you said, there's a difference, but what was the big shock between home and comp barbecue that you noticed?
The level, the flavour punch, how heavily everything's... So without knowing how it all goes to the fact that you need to put all that flavour into that one bite for that judge and just Everything, really, to be honest. There's not too much to translate from home cooking into comp cooking, really. That's what I found. It was start from scratch and go again.
Yeah, I've never once used phosphates at home, I'll say that much.
100%. There you go. It's perfect. Back then, I'd never injected or brined anything. Like, I was using pretty good Wagyu and stuff, so no need to, especially if you're home cooking and stuff. But yeah, just the whole methodology behind it, and especially the SEA with the steak cooks and stuff, how down pat guys have it, and the whole system that they have in place that goes with it. Like, I'm a bit of a freak for that sort of stuff. I love my friggin', I'm very anal and like stuff done very systematically through work and stuff. So that was right up my alley. And between that and the camaraderie, and yeah, I just can't get enough of it, to be honest.
So have you been able to apply some of that anal retentiveness to the competition barbecue? Is that how you organise everything and keep on top of all the
very much
different
so,
proteins
very
and
much
things?
so. Yeah, I found like that system and that if anything, when it starts getting messy and that, I get discomfort. If I've got that system and that routine there, everything sort of flows together and comes along nicely. So
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's like that then. My partner seems to think I'm a bit different. But...
Oh, don't worry, so does mine.
No, you're both a bit different. You're both a bit different. Both a bit different.
What? Unfortunately, we took your mic away, mate. So
come in there. At least it's here for the open, right? It's all good.
oh, well, you might bleed into Jamie's mic. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, okay.
But
what happened to your mic, Tony? Who'd you give it to?
Kyle, just for a bit.
You got cut off.
You're
Talk too much.
Team captain Kyle
he
came
started
over.
talking about Glazy Days, and I'm just
I offered the mics.
Yeah.
Because Kyle's in Glazy Days, so
yeah.
So Kyle, team captain of Glazy Days, you've seen Jamie having a bit of a chat and just come over to what, just to make sure he's saying all the good stuff, or?
I just started. He started talking about what we did at Bendigo and how well we did it with SCA and stuff like that. So I thought I'm just gonna steal the mic just in case, just say something. But no, it's been good getting Jamie on board and having a consistent team member, because previously Glazy Days was myself and a mate, Mitch, who's now had a kid and can't do it. And before that was just me and my little brother, who didn't really. He just wanted to have a good time.
Yeah.
He never actually came to a comp. But he came to all the practices, and then when it came to comp time, it was like, nah.
Okay.
But he tried everything and gave some advice, which was helpful as well. But so it's now having a good, consistent base with Glazy Days has actually been able to compete a few times this year. And before it was like twice a year. Now we're actually getting on a good rhythm.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a baseline now set that we can sort of build off. So
yeah,
we'll be looking to do some damage next year, that's for sure.
Yeah, so it's good jumping back into SCA this weekend. We had a bit of a break over the last 3 months with SCA after Sydney. Hopefully continue that points trend.
So tell me about your SCA experience this weekend. That's what's happened today. ABA kicks off in about an hour. You're going to do that overnight, hand in tomorrow. Tell me about the SCA. What were the categories here this weekend?
So we had a double steak. We had a hamburger and wings.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you do all the categories, or are you a steak only team?
No, we do all the categories. We do all the categories, like because it's quite a bit to enter. So my theory is, if I'm going to pay that much to enter, I might as well do the whole thing. And just like Jamie likes steak a bit more than I do. I like ancillaries as well because I like the creative side of things. And so this weekend worked out pretty well. We each took a steak each.
Yep.
So we sort of split the reins. We took the steak each, which was Jamie's first solo steak this weekend. Because normally we just do it all together. Just first year for Jamie on the scene. It's just get it out there, let it happen, and get some ideas flowing between the two of us. So steak each and hamburger, and the wings was a collaboration between both of our ideas.
We're very fortunate in that regard. So that just naturally by chance, everything that one lacks in the other's good in. Kyle's more creative, I'm more anal and stimulant. Kyle likes his pork, I like my brisket. Kyle does the chicken, I do the pork ribs. It just seems we just naturally click into that respect. Like, so yeah, today he ran the wings, I ran a burger, steak each. It just gels, and then we assist each other in between. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
playing each other's strengths.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one.
Good way to do it.
Yeah.
And so, do you have similar steak cooking methods, or do you like to use a different cooker to what Kyle uses?
No.
Or how
So
does
at the
that work
moment we're
out?
just both running off the same GA, Weber GA, and I'm still just. As this is my first one, I had a crack out solo today, so just under guidance at the moment. So from here, I've sort of built my baseline today, and we'll now start tweaking. Even today, he ran his own flavour profile. I ran my own, couple of different little tweaks, a few minor things. So we'll probably see who scores better and adjust more each either way.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't matter who goes better. It's like we're both throwing ideas back and forth to each other. And at the end of the day, if Jamie does well, Glazy does as well. You know, like if we learn something from his cook, we learn something from my cook, we can tweak for both of them. And I think going forward, we're going to start doing SCAs. We're just going to both enter in SCA and just see how we can do it and which could help keep funding more comps.
Yeah, right. That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah,
stuff.
So it's like we can do stuff, like one of us can do stuff we know that works and the other one can trial something. But at the end of the day, we're trialing new things and developing the team, which gets more ABA comps going if we do well.
Yeah, it works this time, and then you go to another comp and it bombs.
Which was like the difference between Bendigo and Sydney.
Yeah.
Like the perfect score in that Chef's Choice in Bendigo, we did exactly the same thing in Sydney. So we just wanted to see how was it a fluke? Was it the fact that there was a few good cooks at Worlds and we weren't, so that was all right. But we wanted to see if the exact same thing would run. And Chef's Choice, I think we got 4th.
Okay.
But we still so it still works pretty
still
works pretty well.
Well, if you think about Bendigo, you're going to have a rural batch of judges, which tend to have more conservative flavour profiles, particularly compared to like a bunch of city judges from a place like Melbourne that's well known for its sort of melting pot of different cultural flavours.
Sydney's just got better flavours.
But it's funny though, because in the same respect, we done Chef's Choice, first Melbourne and 4th Sydney, and also Bacon. We handed in the same box for that.
Second Bendigo, first Sydney.
So it went up at Sydney, but Chef's Choice come down.
It's
all
barbecue.
Look, it's barbecue. It comes down to the table you hit. It comes to who puts it in their mouth on the day, what they've had before, what they've had after.
Like Tony was saying earlier, like you just don't go get hung up on the scores too much.
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
drive you crazy.
Which I was a little disappointed we didn't get a little higher with this Chef's Choice after a perfect score. But still, at the end of the day, it still scored high.
It's still top 5, yeah.
We know it works.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to add to the arsenal for if I ever need extra few more, pull that out.
Yeah. So is this your first year as well?
No.
No.
So I moved over. I was competing in New Zealand, but only in ABA about 5 years ago. When I moved over to Melbourne 4 years ago, COVID hit and I was going to do meat stock, but then COVID hit and just didn't happen.
Yep.
So then 2 years, nothing. And then sort of a year and a half trying to find some stable people to just consistently do comps.
Yep.
So I did probably 2 a year for 2 years and then got Mitch and Jamie on the scene. And this year, this is our 6th comp.
No, 8th, isn't it?
7 for him, 8 for me.
Yeah,
I did the Rotary.
There was an SCA one we did.
Sydney.
Yeah, Sydney was that one.
Is the extra that we've done to Tony.
Yeah,
it's 7 for you and 8 for me that I done Rotary with Tony.
Yeah.
So you've seen the scene for a while now, and Drew, you've been in the scene for as long as I have.
Yeah.
How, like a bit of a hard question now, looking around where we are here at KV, there's a bunch of empty sites. How are you feeling positivity-wise about the competitive barbecue scene at the moment? Do you feel like...
personal opinion, I don't do mini comps these days, 2 or 3, and now I just help out. But back to your question, it doesn't look very positive seeing these empty spaces. Like the vibe's still good here at Kangaroo Valley, and it's one of the better vibe comps that I go to. But when you see the open holes here and you just go, I remember such and such used to be here, or that person used to come, and then it makes you wonder, what is the future of Australian barbecue? What do we need to do? You know, how do we get more people in? Like that's an ongoing question. I think that's happened for ages, but in my opinion, it does look like a teeter-totters on the edge sometimes.
Yep.
It is hard.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's do you think it's cost of living, or do you think it's...
A lot of people would consider this a luxury. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
and you have to be able to afford that luxury, and not only afford it, but be comfortable enough, you know, within your life and whatever's happening at home to be able to come and spend that money. Like COVID's made a lot of people unsure of what may come next, and everyone wants to hoard their money, and no one wants to go spending money on luxuries, unnecessary luxuries, because what may happen tomorrow.
Because realistically, how much are we looking for a comp each time we go? About $1,000?
Yeah.
You wouldn't get much.
More than that.
No, but you're not going to get much change for $1,000 if you're frugal.
To be honest, like we've at Crazy Days, we're very fortunate. Shout out to OJ, Oklahoma Jones. They sponsor our barbecues. Charcoal King sponsor our charcoal. Cha 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 TLA sponsor our meat.
Thanks, Glenn.
So the company that I work for in my 9 to 5 weekly, Link Scaffolding, they kick us a couple of bucks in the company car and the fuel card. So all that offset.
Nice.
Yeah.
We end up dropping anywhere between $750 to $1,000, between the two of us to come to a comp most times. So
I'm going to have to start sending some emails, mate, because I need some help with sponsorship.
Yeah. Well, that's it too. I mean, it's not just the competitors. It's a lot of the businesses that would sponsor teams are also under the crunch at the moment. So they've got a lot less money that they can afford to be generous with.
Yeah, and also from my perspective, I think that social media, there's a lot of content creators out there, right? And there's probably a lot more revenue in content creation than sponsoring a barbecue team.
You would be surprised.
That's just a theory that I have. And I'm new to this, right? I don't want this to die when I've just started, But I do think, no, I won't say what I want to say, but I do think there needs to be some changes, maybe to categories or, maybe more competitions where meat is supplied, because it's not cheap to enter, right? It's at least $350 to enter a competition.
We need to attract more people.
We need to attract more people. How do we do
that?
that? You're not going to do that by saying, hey, you need $2,000 for this competition, then you can come and compete. And you might win $50 or you might win nothing, right? So
there's also
how do we attract that, and how do we attract
There's also
those
another
backyard
element though, like a lot of these events have a barbecue competition attached to something else.
Yes.
Because let's face it, the punters aren't coming here to look at us camp.
They used to though. They used to come to cook, right?
They do. Meat stocks are slightly different, but we need to work out
and
how.
it's also, sorry to interrupt, there's also, I think, early competition days, the social media wasn't flooded with low and slow. If you wanted to see it in real life, you had to sort of come here. That was the only place you were sort of seeing it. Now it's everywhere. Like low and slow is a lot more common than it was 5-7 years ago in Australia. Every second person you talk to has had a crack at it at home, or and then 9 times out of 10, I think a lot of people will go balls deep from the start. They see all these videos and think, oh, I'm going to go get a big brisket and have a crack at cooking that, and it, as their first thing ever at low and slow, and it doesn't work out for them, and it turns them off the whole scene completely.
Yeah. So you need that. You need
that little bit of guidance in between.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think then that ties into though, like how the existing teams, kind of helped me along with my journey, and I ask a lot of questions, right? I used to message people on Facebook or message or on Instagram, and if they answer, they answer. I've got a few people who just helped me out from the start, like Dan from Big Smoke. I met him once at a turn left at Albuquerque class, and talking to him, I was like, yep, I want to do that competition barbecue. Messaging the Butcher's Axe guys, Russ from Natural Smoke, who's also a massive influence on me.
Top guy, yeah.
Massively top guy, as well as having great products. But I think having that accessibility to those guys, once you get to know how to cook and that kind of stuff, some of the tips and that become a little bit drier, or they dry up a little bit, but that's okay though, right? Because it's a competition still.
Yeah, when you're knocking them over in categories, they're not going to keep giving you tips.
No, but
I think what you're saying is that anyone at a comp will help a new person. Tell them everything, show them, and do their best. And then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, this guy I'm helping has grown his wings and flown. Let him, the tips dry up a little bit, so to speak. Yeah. But everyone's great. They help everyone, don't they?
Yeah,
and that's the brotherhood you were speaking about earlier.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Camaraderie in the barbecue scene is something you will never find that level anywhere. No, personally, I've never found it anywhere else.
I could agree on that too.
It's amazing. You never find that level of camaraderie and friendship anywhere else.
Especially for blokes, like having that a You OK Day, mental health for blokes and that. I think that's great. Like Tony's a bit of an advocate for that, though, aren't you?
Yeah, I think the Are You OK Day is personally.
No, but what I'm saying is having a brotherhood. Obviously, barbecue competitions are men dominated.
Yep.
Right, but having this brotherhood that's, I don't know, it feels comforting. That everyone helps.
The stigma of you have to be manly and that you have to be tough doesn't exist here.
It's almost
Are
You
OK Day.
It's almost Are You OK Day every day. So I'm massive for men's mental health. Like an advocate for it. I think that there's not enough that goes into it. And this has definitely helped mine. That's stressful. Cooking a competition's fucking stressful. But you look around and you're like, fuck. They look stressed out as well.
We're all in it together.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
And it's like, I don't like Are You OK Day because it's just a day. It's almost like a token question, right? I can ring him or him, or anyone.
You ring
Drew,
everyone.
Jamie,
Right?
Cole.
Drew, Jamie, Cole, or message, some other guys, and all good. That's it. All good. Yep, all good. Just a check in, and that happens multiple times a week for me because again, I can be a bit of a pest, but you quickly find out who wants to give you a hand, right? Or who,
And that's most people in the comp scene.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's not a lot of people that haven't, given some part of themselves to me in helping me with my barbecue journey, and for that I'm forever grateful because I'm in this one.
Barbecue builds the friendship, and barbecue is the start of the friendship, and then it just elevates from there. Like
100%.
Build.
It's a journey, isn't it? Barbecue.
Yeah.
The food's only one little part. It's the people and everything else that goes.
And me and Jamie, this is a massive coincidence, but we hadn't met yet, but we both went to the same restaurant on the same day.
Father's Day last year. Shout out to Lance, Big Boys Barbecue.
Yeah, we went to Big Boy Barbecue on the same day.
Both wearing
the same
size bluey shirt.
Wearing the same t-shirt, but we didn't see each other there. We happened to fluke it. I saw a post.
I posted up my lunch that I had there in the shirt that I got for the day, and Tony, were you there at that time? I was there at that time, and it happened to be 4 weeks later, TLA. At the end of it, we were sitting around having a few drinks after it was all done and dusted. He's looking at me a bit sideways. He goes, "Are you that fucking bloke that went to Big Boys with the barbecue shirt on?" "Yeah, were you that little one?" He goes, "Yeah," and that's it. And then the next comp the next comp we ended up being neighbours by chance, and we pretty much talk every day after that. And
what did you two do for Father's Day this year?
Went back to Big Boys together.
It was such hard work. It was a busy day for Lance. Lance has got some of the best barbecue food around.
Hands down,
The man knows how to cook. Shout out to Lance for me too. But yeah, we went there for lunch. My family, his family.
And that's the brotherhood we talked about.
Yeah,
how great's that?
It was good.
Sharing Father's Day together.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, so you guys have got to try Lance's barbecue down in Melbourne. I tell you what, I actually met Lance and got to try his barbecue at a competition in Perth.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's how
wing spread over barbecue.
Yeah, I'll be a little bit controversial and mention this about Lance, but
remember, this is on the internet.
I won't say it, actually. I actually love Lance, and I think in the last 12 months, I think I've been there about 18, 19 times.
We've been to Friday lunches.
You're not going to talk about sauce, are you?
No, I'm not going to talk about sauce.
Okay.
I was going to talk about sauce, but I'll leave that alone. I'll leave that alone.
So are you the 1 in 100 barbecuers that can eat that much barbecue and still stay slim?
No, I don't actually eat a lot of barbecue. It gives me indigestion. So last night I was awake all night after cooking.
I think I'm that 1 in 100.
Eating one of Drew's burgers.
I don't know. You could put me under the bus on the podcast, but not Lance.
It gives me indigestion. No, I normally go for Lance's brisket burgers or his brisket showcase, and I'll take one of the kids there, and he knows the family now, and he's a good bloke. He's a good egg.
Yeah.
He's a good egg.
And that's the commander.
I want to loop back to something that that Jamie said earlier. You mentioned that competition barbecue has become a luxury now. Does that not seem incredibly ironic that brisket has now become a luxury? Like, do we need to be looking for other proteins? Like,
well,
what else is there that's affordable? What do you think we should be looking at?
Well, beef ribs are
also buco boxes.
Well, brisket's a second cut, really, isn't it? So what are we going to have to go to a third cut?
That's what I'm saying.
Offal boxes.
Yeah.
Offal box.
I love lamb fried bacon and gravy. I'd be all up for that.
Lamb category.
Well,
haggis.
if we could change anything in comp barbecue, I'm currently doing parsley boxes while we're all talking. Mate, can we just get rid of that?
Yep.
Just a piece of oil.
Or
nothing.
Or some fake parsley, as Drew says. Fake parsley.
What's that? AstroTurf square?
Yeah. Why not?
Why
not? Like, build it into the box.
To be honest, AstroTurf wouldn't be a bad idea because you could have it back at the end of the day. Whereas all this produce here just goes straight in the bin.
Talking about camaraderie and all that, as we spoke about, how many fights you reckon have happened between teammates and parsley boxes?
I'm not sure because I don't do them. I do them if I'm by myself. We did have one before, and I pretty much I directed.
I'm doing all four.
I was about to say, I'm assuming that Drew lost the argument since he's standing here doing the boxes.
No. Yeah, he's good.
I'm a bit like Jamie. I'm really OCD.
He's good at
attention to detail and anal. So it's probably better if I do it. He'll do it wrong.
If Tony does a drill, he'll just end up touching it up and redoing it anyway. So
I'm just playing to Drew's strength. So good. Yeah.
Yes. Words.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So are you all doing the ABA tomorrow then?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep. So we got the 2 separate teams then.
Yep.
So Drew and Tony are one team, and Jamie and Kyle are part of another team.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we're sharing. Our sites are next to each other. We hang out together.
Look,
we help out.
by this one, divine intervention didn't come into play and put us next together, so we took intervention into our own hands and asked if we could shuffle around and got put next to each other.
Okay.
It's just it's that luxury and camaraderie and love between each other. If you're missing something, you don't even ask. You just walk over and grab it, and same likewise for us. If you don't have something and we got it, just come and grab it, mate.
And I think it's that the first 3 comps of this year, we just happened to be next to each other, and then from that it just worked. So it's helpful. Like Jamie and Tony sound like they're on the same team. Jamie's in Glazy Days.
You sound a little concerned about that, Kyle.
I text Tony the other day and just be like, "Oh yeah, how was your archery? By the way, Jamie's mine." But no, it just works really well. And so we cook pretty differently, but we still share tips here and there. We look at how we're going. We taste each other's food and give tips and tricks back. So it helps. It's just always good coming to a place like this and knowing that you've got people around you who are willing to help out, willing to just be cool. Like I told Jamie the first time we rocked up, it's like, this cook is not really to see how you cook. It's more, can we hang out for
can we fit?
Can we hang out for 8 hours? And number 1 rule is don't be a dick.
Yeah. That's just a good rule for life.
It's kind of like an arranged marriage. Like you come away for a weekend, you have to hang out with someone for 3 or 4 days in a row.
You got to make it work.
Stressful situation.
It doesn't matter how well they cook. Like if they can cook, that helps. But at the end of the day, do you want to hang out with them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's got no sleep, a few tinnies under your belt, stressful situations, no showers.
Especially getting up at maybe 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Not in a BBQ
It's a dumb time of the morning.
Maybe 8 o'clock.
I love that one.
That's good.
Yeah.
Not unless you got a drum, mate. You can sleep all night, kick off in the morning.
Well, particularly a BBQ drum.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't. They get onto this Kiwi turn and burn. They're doing it for 20, 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
What are they doing? 500 degrees.
They're getting results though, so.
What's that? They're doing briskets at 500.
Yeah, hot and fast is
turn
taking
and
off.
burn, charring them.
I think that's another podcast in itself.
Wow, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty to
But
dive into there.
that's the beauty. Like as Kyle was saying before, we cook differently. It's good that people are doing different things and pushing boundaries, and we're learning new stuff.
It's good to see that you can actually win doing different things. You're not loopholed into that. You have to use this. You have to do it that way. It has to be that product.
It
you
has
have
to
low
be
and
blue
slow
hog sauce.
It has to be blue hogs. It has to be low and slow. It has to be Texas style.
Loose hogs? What's that? What's loose hogs?
That's in your sauce cupboard, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's good because otherwise we just get all in the same box and there's no evolution.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's why all the new teams freak out, is they see teams like Butcher's X, Smoke Face, Big Smoke, all having these massive results. And when you see their boxes, they all look perfect. And it's like to say that's what you have to do. They've found something that they've trialed from previous
There's
things.
a lot of practice
There's
gone
a
into
lot of
those.
practice.
There's a lot of
into those
research
boxes.
gone into that farm.
People forget that those teams that are doing that well,
Spent 5 years putting in the work.
they spent time doing it, and they're amazing cooks.
To say to Tony along on the phone, mate, you just get boots on the ground, get some experience in, and then go from there. And like just get your feet wet and just go, and then work it all out from there. And just don't turn in raw food.
And I think
Everything
it was,
else is cool.
Jeff from Dusty Q, he told me once when I first met him at a masterclass that he was running with Moist Barbecue.
Yep.
He's like, I'll happily give you 90%, but that 10% is what makes you win. You need to find your 10% because everyone's 90% is the same.
Yep.
It's like, it's the same sort of thing, different styles, but the same thing. It's that 10% that comes with practice. And that's what I found this year with Glazy Days is going 2 comps a year for 2 years. We didn't really get a rhythm to having 6, 7 comps this year. We're actually getting a lot better now because we're doing it a lot more. And it just comes with, we're doing that 90% and we're trying to figure out our 10.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think we've got a SEA presentations in 5 minutes.
I was about to say, speaking of call-outs, we do need to wrap this up because we've got call-out the awards in about 5.
Yeah, but can I just give a couple of shout-outs? I know I've probably done it during the call, but I probably forgot some people. Right? Drew, obviously.
Thanks, mate.
Matt, best drum smokers in the business, especially my 4. The Glazy Days boys, just massive for me. It's been good. Butcher's Axe boys, Big Smoke, Smoke Face, JG, Justin from JG. I
Jazzy.
keep forgetting to shout him out. The Primal Line guys, Russ and Michael Page from Heavenly Hell
Man's
is
a
just
genius.
the bloke's just. I just love him to pieces, and he makes great product, and I love being part of the Heavenly Hell family. Silvio from Charcoal Kings. And my family, who put up with all the bullshit that goes along with competition barbecue and all the stress that I create. And I just love
Big
them all to
shout out to
pieces.
Beck, yeah.
Yeah, big shout out to
She helps
Shorty.
me so much.
Big shout out
man.
to Beck, my other Shorty, who does so much for me. It's hard to articulate. And thanks to Ben for this opportunity.
Yeah, Ben.
Mate,
Only Benny
You
boy.
get our word out. That's the main
thanks to
thing,
you
man.
guys for
Thanks,
for
bro.
being a part of it.
Back to that, even just having this, I've been following you for back to pre-COVID days, and to be asked to come on was just a big thing for me. Like, I'll be giddy about this for the rest of the night.
Everyone's a superstar in the barbecue
Well,
world,
there
aren't
you
they?
go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, fellas. Let's
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks,
let's
Benny.
call that a show
Yeah.
and head over to awards.
Beautiful.
Go Glazy Days in SCA.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.
Barbecue changed my life.
That brings us to the end of another sizzling episode of the Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this flavorful journey through the world of barbecue, grilling, and all things smoked and sizzling at the beautiful Kangaroo Valley Craft Beer and Barbecue Festival. Before we wrap up, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a smoking hot review. Your feedback helps keep the fire burning and helps us bring you more mouth-watering content. Stay connected with us on social media to catch behind-the-scenes sneak peeks and updates on upcoming episodes. You can join us at the Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Community Group on Facebook. And remember, whether you're a seasoned pitmaster or just getting started, keep those fires stoked, those grills hot, and those flavors unforgettable. Until next time, here's to the magic of smoke and fire. Keep those confessions smoking.